So a lot of you guys will know that I do have a few saving videos on my channel, but what if you're still struggling to save money? Well, don't worry, because Auntie V always has your back. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about some of the key things that have really helped me to save consistently. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I was not always saving over £1,000 a month, okay? I just wasn't. So I really wanted to do this video to really talk about the key things that have kept me motivated to help you save more money in 2021. But Verenia, I already know how to save money, okay? Once I've paid for my expenses, then I save whatever is left. Well, I'm sure that's how the majority of people do it, but you will probably find that most people don't end up saving a penny. Now, if you have watched my video talking about how I save over £1,000 a month, then you would know that paying yourself first is so important. Now, I don't want to dabble too much on how to pay yourself first because I do talk about that in a bit more detail in that video. So if you haven't watched that, I will link that up here for you and in the description below. But what I first want to do is talk about why paying yourself first is actually important, because I think some people know that they have to do it, but they have no idea why. And if you're liking this content so far, then remember to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help to support the channel and it's free. So whenever you get paid, let's say you get a paycheck every month or every week, ask yourself who gets paid first. The tax man. Okay, and after that, well, let's see, I've got the landlord, electricity and gas companies, the council, my mobile phone company, the supermarkets, because obviously your girl needs food, restaurants because I need to enjoy life, oh, and Netflix too. So basically what's happening is you've worked hard at your job or your business and you are giving your hard-earned cash to all of these people, all of these companies before you even give yourself a penny. So when you're thinking about paying yourself only after you've paid all of these expenses, you're probably gonna find that there's just nothing left. So what, are you saying I shouldn't even pay my bills? No, of course not, guys. I'm telling you to pay your bills. Pay your bills. But for me personally, when I'm paying myself first, I'm paying myself before any of these non-essential bills. So things like Netflix, eating out, entertainment, with all of those things, I'm going to pay myself first before I even think about spending money anywhere else. Now, to figure out whether I can actually pay myself first, what I would usually do is just see the list of my actual essential bills, and then once that's paid for, then I'm going to pay myself first regardless. And how do you do that? Of course, it means you need a budget. Now, I'm not going to say anything else about budgeting because if you have watched my previous videos, then you already know how I feel. So if you're new to my channel, I've got budgeting templates and other budgeting videos, so I will link that in the description below for you. But I will just say that I haven't been able to pay myself first without having a budget, so that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so I'm paying myself first. Now what? So for me, this is where a shift in mindset really comes into play, because if you have no idea what you're saving for and why, then it's gonna be really difficult to keep motivated. So what exactly are you saving for? I honestly don't know. I may as well just use the money to go shopping instead. So for me, I need to know exactly what I'm gonna be saving for and whether that's going to be short term or long term. Now guys, the other thing that I would say is when you're thinking about your why and your goals, just try to make sure that your goals are realistic, because if you're trying to save £20,000 by the end of the year, you're probably going to be a little bit discouraged if you're only able to save £200 a month. So again, if you want to set your money goals, I do have a video talking about that, so I will link that up here for you and in the description below. But also at the same time, the one thing I would say is really take it step by step and take your time. So I have not always been saving £1,000 a month, and I think I will do a future video just talking through my process and how long it actually took me to start saving £1,000 a month. But I really started small, and again, it's going to be a lot of trial and error. So if you're able to maybe start saving £20 a month and then gradually increase it, you will then start to get the quick wins. Hopefully you'll start to get a bit more motivated and you'll realize that you're able to save a lot more every single month. But just remember guys, Rome wasn't built in one day. So if it's going to take time, then let it take time. As long as you're being consistent and you're really trying to make a difference and start saving money, then it will start to snowball in the end. So when I'm thinking about saving for the long term, I might be thinking about saving for retirement or financial independence, for example. So how I plan for those savings and where I place those savings are going to be different compared to something that's more short term. Now, I am going to be doing a video in the future talking about how you can actually calculate your financial independence number and how much you'll need to save for that. So make sure you are subscribed to my channel and hit that bell notification below as well so you don't miss out. So when it comes to my long-term saving plan, because I know exactly what I'm saving for, I'm more likely to be motivated and keep being consistent, because at the end of the day, I want to either retire or become financially independent, as an example. And one tip that I would also give when it comes to saving for long-term or short-term things is really writing it down so you know exactly what your plan is and what you are saving for again. And also I think it helps with motivation as well, because it's something that you can always go back to and keep referring to when you're trying to just find that motivation to keep saving money. And then when it comes to things like saving for the short term, again, it's very similar. Make sure you have a plan. So for example, are you saving up for an emergency fund? Are you saving up for a wedding or a house? Once you know exactly what you're saving for and how much you need to be saving each month, month, then that will probably help with a bit more motivation, because until you know your why, you're just going to be saving for the sake of saving, and that is probably not going to help with being motivated or even being consistent every single time. Okay, I've got a plan. I know exactly what I'm saving for now. But every time I try to save money, something else comes up and then I end up having to use my savings to pay for it. Now guys, this is where having a sinking fund comes in and why it's equally important. Why do I keep banging on about it? Because sinking funds will allow you to have a plan so you can start saving for other things on the side. Because if you find that there are some expenses that you pay for every single year, but you haven't actually made a plan to save for it, then you're going to end up having to dip into your own savings to pay for that expense because you haven't planned for it. And I'm a prime example when it comes to things like this, because when I first tried to save money, I didn't actually account for things like car maintenance. So I was trying to build a pot of savings, but at the same time, there were things that I needed to pay for my car, which I hadn't even saved for or thought about. So things like my MOT, road coverage, road tax, I hadn't saved for any of those. So every single time that came up, I would then have to dip into my savings and pay for that. And that meant that I lost the motivation, because every single time I would try to save money, I ended up pulling it out of my savings, trying to pay for certain expenses. And guys, this is exactly why I started my channel, so that you can learn from my mistakes. So I will say it once and say it again, sinking funds are important, guys. They are important. Now, if you have no idea how to start saving for sinking funds, I do have a detailed video talking through that process. So I will link that up here for you and in the description below. Okay, that's all good. But what if I just end up spending all of my money? Okay, guys, so this is where I would just say you need to figure out your weak spot. So for example, if you find that you tend to make a lot of impulse purchases, you need to tackle that and figure out why that is happening, and try to think of solutions that will actually stop you from making those purchases. So one thing that you could do is every time you're looking to make a purchase, you could print a photo of Auntie V and ask her, should I make that purchase? Should I buy those shoes? Should I buy that jacket? And question whether you think Auntie V would say yes. Would I? But if you don't want to take a photo of my lovely face, then one thing you could do is actually use the 72-hour rule. So don't buy anything that you don't need and wait for 72 hours. Now, if you realize that you do actually need to buy that particular thing, then of course you can make that purchase. But after 72 hours, you probably will realize that you don't actually need to make that purchase, and then you'll just forget about it and move on. Another thing that you could potentially do, which is something that I started doing when I first started out, is actually having your savings in a different savings account. So I basically opened a separate online savings account, and every single time I got paid, I would just transfer a chunk of money into that savings account. Now, I didn't have an app for this, so if I wanted to look at my account online, I would actually have to go on the web browser and log in and remember my login details as well to actually see my account. So it was quite difficult, and it just took a bit of effort to actually get into that account. So I was less likely to spend money or take out my savings because I just couldn't be bothered to keep logging in every time. Plus, if I did want to take money out, I would have to wait at least 1 working day. So a lot of the times I honestly just couldn't be bothered. So I kind of just let my savings sit there. I'm really liking this jacket, you know, but I don't get paid till next month. Although I could use my savings. Wait, what's my login again? I have to wait a whole day to get it. Forget it, I can't be bothered. So having a separate online savings account where I didn't even have the app for it just really helped me. And it's now got to the point where I can happily just have a savings account in my own current account, and I'm not going to spend money because I'm so used to just seeing my savings sit there and just not having to touch it at all. Okay, I think I get it now. So how do I save even more money? Well, luckily for you, I already have a detailed video on 13 things I have done to save even more money. So make sure you do check that out if you haven't already. Of course, I will link that up here for you and in the description below. So yeah, hopefully that video is a good starting point when you're trying to think of other things that you could do to even save more money now. But the other thing that I would also say is really use the resources that you have online. So you guys know exactly how I feel about Money Saving Expert. I absolutely love that site, and they also have newsletters telling you how you can actually save even more money every single time when it comes to things like utility bills or the best savings accounts and just other stuff. So make sure you do check that website out. Absolutely love them. Also, when you're looking at things like purchases, then try and just get the best deals. So maybe you could use vouchers or just anything like that. So really just try and use the resources that you already have online, because that will definitely help when it comes to savings and money. But again, guys, these should be things that you plan to buy. So you have already made a plan, you know exactly how much you want to spend, and then you're going to buy it. You're not just going to start buying on the whim, because you know Auntie V won't be happy about that. So again, look at my face every single time you want to make a purchase. But if you did like this video, then remember to give me a thumbs up if you haven't already. And let me know in the comments, are there any things that you're going to be doing differently to save money in 2021? I do post every Tuesday and Friday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Tuesday.